Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we're going to take a look at the astrological energies from April 7th through the 14th, including a dynamic Aries New Moon on April 11th. And we have a lot of invigorating conversations happening right now in the cosmos. There's a lot of energy that is getting turned up, that is moving forward. Perhaps you're even feeling this in your life or in yourself. Something is brewing. Perhaps you're getting the feeling that something new is coming through and is helping you with next steps. All of that energy is very strong over this next week and through the middle of April. So there is definitely action happening. There are things that are blossoming, supporting us and moving forward. And you could feel it too, that you're maybe on the precipice of something new, that there could be something fresh coming up for you, even if you're not quite sure what it is. It could be in the next week or so, it becomes much clearer and you have the energy for it. And that's also important here when we're talking about what's happening over the next week, is that the Aries New Moon is actually the first moon of the astrological wheel. It's the first new moon that kickstarts the energy of the zodiac. So we've been in this very interesting place of limbo where it could feel like things are moving and things are happening, but maybe you still feel the remnants of an old energy cycle, or you're still tapping into some things that aren't quite cleared out. We did have a very long Pisces season this year that was really emotional and intense. It had a lot that was stirred up in us, a lot for us to understand about what we are carrying and what we've been holding emotionally and spiritually. And as we move through these cycles, we see how there's things that we can't rush through. We can't force it through. We can't go any faster than how it's moving through. And we've been slowly exfoliating parts of ourselves and parts of our lives. There's been some big transitions, but they can only go so fast. Now, as we move into this week and past the Aries New Moon, I feel like the tempo is going to accelerate. It's going to increase. We're going to feel more of that fast-moving energy. And this is where you could really feel like something is new within you, that you've turned a corner, you've turned a page, that there's something that shifted, that you've been working on and working through. And again, maybe it's not like it's dragged on. But one of the gifts of Aries season is that it gives us that kick, that oomph to keep moving and to get something new going, because now we have room for it. And that's one of the ways that the Pisces and Aries energy do work together, is that the Pisces clears it out, lets it go, allows us to see something from a higher perspective. What is the wisdom? What am I learning here? What did I learn here? And as those energies complete, then the Aries energy comes in, and it's very fresh and new. So we have a lot of that occurring over this next week. And if you've been kind of waiting, sort of like sensing that something was going to get started, I think this is the week when it's really going to happen, because the cosmic energies are supporting it. The other influence that's been at play here is that Mars in Gemini has been squaring Neptune in Pisces. And this will be exact on April 9th, but it's a slower moving energy and a slower moving influence that adds to the confusion, that adds to some of that energy we were feeling during Pisces season of maybe not having clarity, not having certainty, wondering, what am I supposed to do? Because when Mars squares Neptune, Neptune is the influence of a slowdown, and it can also create doubt. It can create a sense of, well, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to follow? What is calling to me right now? Mars in Gemini can be two things calling to you, two choices, two paths, two directions, two options. It's like holding something in your right hand and something in your left hand. And so there's been maybe things that you've been working on, and then this energy gets the square influence from Neptune and Pisces, which can extinguish that momentum or that energy, because that Neptune in Pisces does remind us that there are grander cycles of energies. And this is where we let go. We let go of expectations. We let go of what we've been putting pressure on ourselves to do. And even if you have felt like, oh, I should be further along than I am, or I should have completed something by now. When Neptune is squaring Mars, and Mars is also the body, the ego, our self-identity, what we want, how we assert ourselves, all of that really gets softened and muddled, and it can just feel like you don't have the energy that you just had. And there's something about leaning back, releasing, letting go, trusting the timing, giving yourself a pause. And so that could be something you've been feeling as we approach this Aries New Moon on April 11th, is that there has been maybe a slowdown or a pause that could be confusing, that could make you feel really tired and worn out. And you can think, but it's Aries season, or but there's all this energy and there's things I want to do. Why am I so tired? Or why do I need more sleep? And it is this Neptune squaring Mars that will be exact on April 9th. And then the energy will subside and let up. Then it will be easier to navigate. And oftentimes after a strong Neptune influence, it could be that you've received a download, an intuitive message. Something comes through in the pause, in the slowdown, that helps you see with greater clarity what is important or what you do need to do. So if this week has felt slower, or you've even been frustrated that something can't get off the ground, why don't I have the energy, the momentum? These Neptune influences allow us to receive information and insight that we wouldn't normally have received. And then it allows us to understand what to do next that is often for our best and highest good. So as always, you can see this as the cosmos is benevolent and working for you, supporting you, simply asking us to trust divine timing, even though our ego minds don't always want to do that. We want things on our own timeline. But this is always a strong influence whenever you have a personal planet interacting with an outer planet. It means it's something bigger than us. You can't force the river, you can't rush the tides, and then how can you simply float, trust, and allow, and basically let yourself off the hook? So that is happening all this week, and we'll be shifting on the Aries New Moon when we get some stronger energies coming in. We also are going to be having some dynamic interactions here between the planets in Aries, specifically Mercury and Venus in Aries, that are each going to be interacting with the planets in Aquarius. So coming up on April 10th, right before the new moon, but it's an energetic imprint in the new moon as well. We have the Mercury in Aries sextiling Saturn in Aquarius at 12 degrees, and then Venus in Aries sextiling Jupiter in Aquarius at 25 degrees, both happening on the same day, April 10th, right before that April 11th Aries new moon. So this is when things really ramp up. There's connections, information, details. Something can be solidified within you. You could have an understanding of what to do now that maybe you've been contemplating since February. And that's because of the planets in Aquarius were very active and strong in February. That's when we had Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. And now there's energy coming through that supports the new starts, what you're beginning, what you're initiating, and having the energy to do so. So I feel like this energy period is going to be pivotal in that we're going to be shifting gears, and you could feel yourself shifting up to a higher gear. You've been in second gear and now you're up into fourth gear or fifth gear. It's that kind of acceleration that's going to be coming through and supporting us with what we're ready to follow. What's the new passion? What is calling to you? What is really energizing you? And that's a good word to look at here, is where you feel energized, because this Aries energy is very strong and it wants us to get going and to get moving. And after that Mars in Gemini moves away from Neptune and Pisces, then Mars is going to have his energy back as well. And he is the ruler of all the planets in Aries. So he needs to be on board with these things to move and to take off. And this Mars is strongly and beautifully aspected for the Aries new moon because that Mars is working nicely with Venus, the Sun, the Moon, and Jupiter in Aquarius. So this is where we're going to feel the energy pick up and move. And this is where you could have a lot of ideas, a lot of conversations, a lot of text messages, a lot of thoughts, a lot happening to move something forward. So know that whatever has felt like a slow cycle or a down cycle, it's going to shift and you'll experience an uptick in the energy as this Aries new moon really comes through strongly. Now, I do have a separate video for you on YouTube that talks more about the specifics of the Aries new moon, so I won't repeat myself too much here, other than to say it's happening at 22 degrees of Aries in your chart, and that's where you want to identify where this new energy is supporting you, specifically which house you have 22 degrees of Aries in, and that's where this new energy is going to thrust you forward. It's going to give you that ignition of energy to get something moving, and there's a lot here that says it's time. There's a divine timing coming through. There's a sense of things connecting and lining up, and you could even feel that within yourself. I feel that this energy is also bringing in some very strong and powerful energetic codes, I'm going to call them codes, that are supporting us in the confidence to be ourselves now and to look at where you might feel like Swiss cheese, meaning where you feel like you have some openings or some holes in your energy, meaning you've cleared things out. It's where you've healed, you've moved energy through, and there is a void. You could feel it too if you tap into yourself. It could feel like maybe there is an emptiness or a hollowness energetically. It could feel like a lot has transitioned or changed over in your life or in your world, and there are these openings. This Aries energy that's coming through can help with strengthening those voids wherever you're looking for new energy in a part of your life or in a part of yourself within your own energy field. I sense that this energy coming through is a download of confidence, courage, support, inspiration, essentially the higher octaves of Aries, where you really trust yourself, you believe in yourself, you're ready for what's next because you are now ready for the next version of yourself. And I feel that this is strongly connected to future self energies that are in the present moment now, where all timelines are happening concurrently, but we're receiving energetics right now. And it again, codes, it feels like these light codes that are actually coming through from other sources in the galaxy. It's very cosmic. It just feels like a very cosmic, high rising energy. Wherever you are ready to receive support for the new parts of you that you've been waiting for or welcoming, wherever you've been wanting this transformation in your life to set in, I feel like over the next week and through the middle of April, there's these new energies coming in to really fortify us, to give us that sense of, I feel how different I am. I feel what I've shifted. I feel what I've healed. And this is important because when you do a lot of personal work, whether that's the shadow work, spiritual work, healing work, all the above and more, body work, energy work, as we do all these different modalities and we put ourselves into these different experiences of transformation, it can be tricky to know when the energy has really changed within us. And I feel like over Pisces season, there was a lot that changed, and even you could feel it perhaps emotionally or intuitively, like parts of you were done, parts of you were leaving, parts of your self-identity were complete by your own accord, because that's what you chose, that's what you wanted. This could also pertain to the healing work, the deep inner work you've been doing. I feel like a lot has left, and that can be why Pisces season was also so intense, because we could feel parts of ourselves that maybe you were really comfortable with, you knew really well. It's sort of like the parts of yourself that you just really understood, but had served their time, had served their purpose. They just were now expiring and they were leaving. And it was a dissolving and a sense of this energy was being transmuted. I feel now in Aries season, there's more coming in because you have the room and the space for it. And there's a higher purpose here. There's a higher purpose in the timing of it all because we're going to be in energetic alignment with new levels of support. And the support is coming through at a very cosmic level, and it's part of what's propelling us forward into these new areas of our life, these new energies, these new experiences of ourselves, these new self-identities. And it's coming through very strongly. It even feels, I'm going to say drastic. It feels really intense. The other thing that is coming through right now is that part of what so many people have been moving through has been very intense and very deep lessons, very deep themes, very deep energies where, you think you're done with something and, oh wait, here comes 6 more servings, or oh, I made it so far, I must be at the finish line. Nope, I've got another 25 miles to go. You think you're at the end of the marathon, but you've been at the beginning. That's the energy that's been cycling through. And what I'm feeling is that because we've been doing a lot of intense work through many lifetimes, this stuff goes deeper than maybe we've realized, deeper than maybe we want to realize. There are transitions happening here that are supporting you in birthing new parts of your life, new parts of yourself. And it's worth it. It's absolutely worth everything that you've been working on and working through. And of course, everyone can be at a very different place in this process. But what I feel with this Aries new moon is that this new start is very big, and it could show you what is no longer connected to your sense of self, to your soul mission, to what you value and what you think is important. It can show you even more of who you are not. And that's coming through as Venus in Aries will square Pluto in Capricorn at 26 degrees on the new moon. And this is a very big influence of soul growth, where you're looking at the parts of yourself that have changed permanently. And I feel like what we're tapping into is that energy of authentic self is here. Authentic self has arrived. And if you tap into it, feel it, you're sensing it, or you know it already, that's the energy that's going to keep rising and growing. And that's also why there's things in our lives that we can't go back to. We can't compromise. We have no energy for. There's just no room. It could even be that those, let's say, experiences, roles, people, anything that was not connected to your authentic self had to leave. It just had to go. There was literally nothing holding it or keeping it connected to your aura or to your energy field. It just had to go. And this is one of the ways that we experience energy and motion and how things change over is that, we can feel it at the various levels of our being. We can feel it emotionally and spiritually. We can feel these things, of course, physically and energetically. But what's happening is that as we've been turning over and moving through some really big things since 2020, we are now new. We're new again. And things that are no longer in resonance just have to leave. And it's not personal, even though it can feel so personal, especially if you are an empath, you're highly intuitive, you're a highly sensitive person. These things can really stir up your emotional world and your emotional experiences. And this is where there is an opportunity to practice detachment, to look at, okay, where can I find some peace in these changes? And I feel like there's even been a need to have a safe harbor where You just want to find that place that's calm, gentle, quiet, relaxing because of the big changes, the big storms, if you will, that have been moving through. And what has been leaving is for your best and highest good and for their best and highest good. And if you can keep that in your awareness, that this is playing out for the best of all involved, or this is unfolding in a way that is so beautiful and so divine, even if I can't see it right now. If you can keep those higher thoughts present somewhere in your being, it can help with whatever is leaving or has left, whatever transitions have happened, whatever you've been through. If you can tap into that place of equilibrium, peace, and calm in yourself, in your own energy field, it's going to help detach perhaps from anything that you've been focused on or invested in. And it's going to remind you that you always travel with your own energy. You travel with everything in your energy, with what you create, what you focus on, what you believe in, the dreams you have. And as things are leaving, or if they've left, or they're transitioning, or perhaps they're not leaving, but it's not playing out in the ideal way you expected or what you wanted, whatever it might be, right? Whatever we can dream about or attach ourselves to. What is happening is that we are being given a beautiful opportunity to remember that what you want in life will always travel with you. Those dreams you have, those desires, those goals, those things that are really important to you in this life, what your values are, what matters to you, what it means to live a good life, all of that travels in your own energy field. And Aries season is a time to fortify that, to claim it, say, this is mine, this is my dream. And let's say that you had a dream that was connected with someone else, or connected to a specific job or role or situation. Let's say it's just something that really is meaningful to you. That is still in your realm of creation. That is still a dream that you carry, even if it shifts and changes, even if it shows up in a different form or a different way. It's still your dream. It's still something that is a part of your energy field, and you get to choose. Do I want to carry this with me? Is this still resonating with me? Do I still want this in my life? And if the answer is yes, then you absolutely claim it and you give it energy. You give that dream, that vision, that ideal energy. Perhaps it's a project. Perhaps it's just something you want to manifest or experience in your life. You give it energy from your own energy field, and it's not connected to anyone else. In fact, it's reminding me of something I shared with you a few years ago when we were going through some really big eclipse periods, and how, let's say you had these Legos, right? And you built up this very cool Lego city, and it was all your world and everything that you loved. And then in comes this crazy, mean Godzilla who tears apart the Lego city and who bashes in what you created or who ruins it, right? Godzilla comes through and destroys. What happens next, though, is that those are still your Legos. You're like, all right, fine. I will rebuild with my Legos. I can make something new. I can make something better. It's going to be even more amazing. Godzilla can't touch it. It's that type of ownership. It's energetic ownership. It's like, these are my Legos, thank you very much, and I will keep creating with them. I will keep making them into something that I love, that inspires me, that makes me happy. So if you can really embody that intention during this Aries energy, it's going to give you a restoration of trust in yourself. It's going to feel empowering. And it's also the ownership. It's like, yes, I can do this. I can make this happen in my life. I can set about on whatever adventure I want to next and make it into my own creation. And that's what travels with me. My Legos travel with me. So keep in mind that whatever is coming through for you right now is reminding you of who you are, what you want, what you value, what you need. And I feel like we're getting these energetic downloads that support that confidence in ourselves, which is truly needed after a lot has left or has been healed, when you've moved through a significant cycle or a big time in your life. We need those quick wins or the low-hanging fruit at times. We need those things to come through to help us with our faith and our confidence and to keep us going. And the way that I see it is that the universe, God, Source, Spirit, loves us so much and so unconditionally that as we put out these requests for what we need, they can absolutely show up in unexpected ways, and they can show up in ways that remind us that we're not alone, that we're not having to figure it all out by ourselves, that we can trust what is coming through, we can trust that we are supported, and we really can need that more times than other times. So if you have felt like you lost a dream, or you've lost a significant connection or relationship, maybe you're in the midst of figuring out your path for career and what's next there, keep in mind that the universe is always creating with you. And these accelerated energies can basically bring through new solutions, new pathways, and new opportunities in a very dynamic fashion. So keep strong in your intention of what you want, of what you're here to create and build and experience. Write it down as a list, create a vision board, do something that is maybe creative or interesting to you. I mean, you could even write a list on one of your apps on your phone. It doesn't have to be a big thing. But what I feel is important is that however you can ground it is vital, because when you ground it by either writing it down, making something visual, putting it somewhere where you can read it or see it, then you're going to remember what your intentions are and revisit it. And then the energy doesn't float away. It gets stronger when we write it down and we make it clear to ourselves. So whatever is coming through for you, this is the time to do what you can to feel solid in who you are now, in what matters to you now. And I feel like what we're going to be experiencing over the next week is more of this it's like a dynamic, juicy, invigorating energy coming through that is supporting us in our new potentials. There are new parts of you that are rising up, just as your authentic self has arrived in, I feel it dimensionally. I don't know how else to explain it, because it depends on how you ground energy and how you work with energy. But it's sort of like seeing these layers coming through from other dimensions, and then they come through into the physical world, and it can feel like new energy. It can feel like a shift. It can feel like there's something within you that feels different. Maybe you feel it physically, energetically, intuitively. Maybe you even feel it emotionally. There can be so many layers of this, but again, I feel it as energy coming through from different dimensions that support who you are now, the authenticity of yourself that you have understood and have accepted. And there's going to be support for this energy growing. So it's a beautiful time to get clear on what matters to you now. On April 13th, we will see the Sun in Aries sextile Mars in Gemini. This is also going to be invigorating energy where there could be a lot going on, a lot of motion, a lot that you're ready to move forward. It's also the beginning of Ramadan on April 13th. Then we're also going to see Venus enter Taurus on April 14th, and this is a grounding influence. This is where we can feel a sense of relief, and we're ready for that pause and that slowdown. One thing that's so fascinating about the zodiac is how the energies between the zodiac signs are very different. So the energy of Aries, which is a cardinal sign that initiates, it's a fire sign that gets things moving, and it's also a masculine energy. It is tempered in Taurus, which is practical, fixed, an earth sign, and a feminine energy. So whatever we've been wanting to get moving and get creating, when the planets move into Taurus, they get a practical check-in, they slow down, they have time perhaps to breathe and take a break and look at what's truly required for that manifestation. So Venus enters Taurus on April 14th, which is her home sign, and she comes back to her true values and what she really needs and what she really wants. She also can take a break and look at where she needs to come back to herself. This is very feminine energy, and it's where we also can balance ourselves, where we have a lot of masculine energy right now that is coming through, but we need the feminine energy to stay in balance, to stay in harmony. So as the planets move into Taurus, we're going to perhaps feel a little bit more grounded and a little bit more centered, also a bit more balanced as well. So I feel like what we're needing to make the most of is that, yes, it's time to get things moving, started, and to look at who you are now. And then as the planets move into Taurus, we're going to have some reality checks around where we can realistically invest our time, how much it costs to put in effort, and what's the payoff, what's the reward. These can be some of the themes that come up during Taurus season. And as Venus enters Taurus on April 14th, we're going to feel that shift. Now, the sun stays in Aries until April 19th. So we still have about a few weeks of Aries season. And this means it is time to look at what is energetically calling to you. And I feel too like so much of Aries season has been connected with a type of preparation where, again, you can feel that there's a lot in motion and things are moving, but it's not grounded, or it's not real, or you only sense it or feel it, but you're not touching it. So there's been things coming through where I feel the energy of the cosmos is saying, stay open, stay open. For all the things you've understood about yourself and your own journey, for what you've healed and been working on, for all the ways you know yourself now, remember to stay open. Stay open to the universe. Stay open to solutions and things coming through that can support what you need. Stay open to where you need more support, or where you're looking for that next manifestation, or even just that next small step or quick win. Aries season is about quick wins, especially with the fast-moving Mars in Gemini. So that could be something to look for and ask for as well, is that if there's been an area of your life that's been a struggle and really intense or emotional, ask for some quick wins. Ask for something to show up to give you inspiration or motivation. Because Aries season can bring you that new spark of life, that new sense of possibility, and remind you of how the universe is always in motion, always delivering, always showing up for us, and that we want to be the right receptacles to receive it. We want to be able to experience these energies as they're available to us and to not shut them out or miss them. A few more things to note here about this Mars in Gemini, which is the ruler of Aries, which is why he's important, is that Mars in Gemini is out of bounds, and we talked about that a few weeks ago, which is where this Mars is a little bit more chaotic and unpredictable. This is the energy of kind of being a wild card and a trickster and just wanting to go your own way and do your own thing. So this Mars out of bounds is rebellious and is getting that slowdown from Neptune, as we talked about earlier in the show. But after this new moon, Mars is totally doing his own thing again, and he's really kind of just wanting to be free. There's a sense of, let me just go my own way and do my own thing, and that can be very fun for this Mars in Gemini, especially before he enters Cancer on April 23rd, which is a sign that he is not strong in at all and that he kind of struggles with. So at this time, really make the most of the progress you can make and what you can get done. Look at where you do have energy for things, even if it's those short bursts of energies or those quick wins. Make the most of it, because when Mars goes into Cancer on April 23rd, there is a slowdown and it kind of becomes a bit more moody, a bit more, I don't know if I want to do that. And the energy changes. So make the most of what you can move forward at this time. And keep in mind that Mars in Gemini is in mutual reception with Mercury in Aries. And this means that each planet is in the other's rulership. So they are experiencing a very nice conversation right now, where they are supporting one another in these new endeavors and what is being moved along. They are supporting each other in the solutions and what can be experienced and accomplished. So if you're feeling that there's a lot happening in your mind, in your body, there's a lot going on all around you, you're probably going to have to be very intentional with how you make commitments, what you say yes to. Make sure and give yourself a moment or 3 to think it through. Because this energy can be so fast moving, we can say yes and then regret it, or we can do something and wish we hadn't. So it's good to keep that in mind at this time, that you'll want to intentionally slow down some things that you commit to, or where you find yourself spinning in certain thoughts. It's a bit like just pulling over off the side of the road, putting the car in park, and giving yourself that moment to just look at, where am I directing my energy right now? Where am I making commitments or saying yes? Where is my energy going? Is this what I want? And if it is, great. You're ready to go again. But if it's not, then at least you then have that awareness and you can make changes accordingly. So overall, this is a very dynamic week. A lot of fast-moving energies are going to be picking up. We're going to feel a shift, especially with the Aries New Moon. We're going to also feel that shift in ourselves, where you could feel that you are different now. You are new, you are fresh. There's things that have changed in you. You've been through a transformation, you've been through a healing, and now you're new. Now you can use the energies to call in what you need, to ask for what you need to support you in this new authentic self, and to feel the confidence rising in who you are now. I feel like there is a lot of divine energy coming through as we move through the middle of April. I feel like things can happen fast, things can happen quickly, and that it's wonderful when we can trust that we're supported and trust what shows up for us next as something that we're ready for. There's a lot of yes energy as well. It's a lot of green lights and yes, and go for it, and why not? And you could feel that in yourself too, that you're ready to take a risk or try something different. Maybe you're ready to do something you never thought you would do. That's also coming through right now, and I hope that inspires you and also reminds you how limitless life can be. How we can have these expectations of what our life is going to look like, what we're going to be when we grow up, what we're going to do, when we get older. But this is a time to stay open to more possibilities, stay open to, who you meet or who comes through for you, to stay open to the new offers or possibilities, whatever is new. Because I feel like for some people especially, you've been working intensely and you're ready for the shifts and the changes. So I hope they come through in the most beautiful way for you. Especially as you remember that your dreams travel with you. What you want in life travels with you and stays with you, and it doesn't go anywhere else. It doesn't leave, it doesn't abandon you, it doesn't go anywhere else unless that's what you want. But whatever you call in and claim right now, whatever you identify as what resonates with you and what you want to experience in your life, that's what you will be able to give energy to. And that is part of how we can feel really strong and powerful in our lives. So it's a beautiful week to fully claim your Legos. These are my Legos. I am going to play with them and build with them and create with them, and it's going to be awesome. And allow that to inspire you as we move through this middle week of April. So as always, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time, energy, and presence here, and I'm grateful that we are sharing this journey together. I'm glad to know too that Monday's podcast episode for starseeds and lightworkers was so beneficial to so many of you, and I hope that it gives you good reminders of your journey and also how this lifetime is so different. It's so different than what we expected or what we thought, even at a cellular level. It's so different than what our conscious minds anticipated. So just keep in mind that it is a big lifetime. It's a big cycle of energy that we're moving through in this lifetime. But I hope that you're also tuned in to how loved and supported you are on this journey. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back here every Monday and Wednesday for another podcast episode. Please check out my YouTube channel where I talk more about the Aries New Moon, and I hope that that gives you some insights too into how you can experience this very big new moon energy. And in the meantime, I wish you a beautiful journey ahead wherever you are in your world, wherever you are in your life, and I hope that you feel that rising energy of your authentic self as you step more fully into who you truly are. So thank you, friends. I'll see you back here soon, and have a beautiful new moon.